Peace, peace. I'm gonna start out by peace, peace. Let me turn this shit down. Start off by showing, promote my book, our book. This is a work from the Kofi Patsai research team. Our first collective work. It is called Spears of the Masi. It is presented by the Masi Warrior Clan. Pretty sure a lot of y'all know who the Masi are. It's called Spears of the Masi, a historical survey of the minds of African warrior scholars, Volume 1 by Kofi Patsai research team. It's our first work, man. We have everything completed, everything done, man, everything legit. We have a forward by Black Panther, aka Brother Ben. We have the dedicated forward by Brother Unc West. And we have our chapters. Each member of the research team does their own chapters. So it's a pretty good book, man. It's a great book, actually. We put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort. Hopefully, y'all will support, and you can get this. Let me show you. Let me show you where you can get this at. You can pre-order this work that we're dropping. We're dropping it on May 25th. But you can pre-order, and all pre-orders will be 20% off. So everybody that orders pre-orders gets a discount. And this is the site. This is our site where you pre-order. See the address up here, KofiPatsaiTV.com. You can scroll down. We have featured videos, featured articles of the learning market, and we have our videos of our presentations and our builds that we do on the channel. We have a section where you can test your knowledge. You watch the video. In this case, this is Brother Sean's video. You watch the video and you take a quiz afterwards. So this is video of his presentation of coming of age, and this quiz that he formulated and put together. You can take that, see what you know, test your knowledge. And you go further down and you have the book. And you have the option to pre-order it. And this is the description. For thousands of years, Mother Africa has been under attack by conspirators looking to gain access to its knowledge, wisdom, sciences, culture, customs, traditions, and much more. From spears to pens, members of Kofi Patsai research team tackle issues of Africa and Africans in the diaspora, from misconceptions infused on ancient Kemet while facing the treatment of Africans displayed in human zoos along the way. From the rhythm of the drum, the authors uncover the heartbeat of every African nation while understanding the importance of procreation and how life evolves. Redeeming the African mind has always been a focal point of the authors, while addressing religious misconceptions that have people that have people confusing Weta for Judah. Kofi Pasi research team backed by the Masi warrior clan has armed themselves scholastically to advance knowledge by any means necessary with a historical survey of the African warrior scholars. No, let me restart that. Let me get it right. The historical survey of the minds of African warrior scholars, volume one, and that's the description of our book. We have a quote from Diop, the great ancestor, and this is where you buy the book. You know, and here's that same description. We have a section for reviews. If you got your book and you wanna write a review about it, boom, there you go. You know, you have a chance to give your feedback. We have a suggested reading section. I showed you how to order the book. Now I'm just going through the website a little bit, which so there's a video on recommended books, and also here is a book is a list we will be adding to this list. We will be adding to this list. We just very focused on the book right now, which is already done. We just taking care of the business side of it. May 25th again is when it drops. We have a section for videos where our videos will be posted. We will add more videos very, very soon. Right now we have Kofi's presentation, Coronavirus, COVID-19, and Africa and its possible effects. And we also have Why Are We Attracted to Misinformation, Pseudoism, Conspiracy Theories, and Who Should Be Held Accountable. This was a presentation / build from the channel Kofi Pasi TV. Actually, the title is Kofi Pasi TV Family and Affiliates versus Masi Warrior Clan versus Dagger Squad versus MBK. Remaining centered, we got that video. Just a couple of videos we will be adding to contact us. There's the email. There's the email for the whole team, for the whole squad. So if you need to get in touch with any of us, you can always hit the email. There's the shield. This section is about the researchers in the that's a part of the squad. So you can contact us that way. And if you do choose to buy the book or pre-order the book, whatever you choose to do, beforehand, we ask you to register, right? That way we can keep track of you and who's ordering, and that way you can keep track, of the books you buy and so forth. So hold on, give me 1 second. Alright, okay, my apologies. Alright, man, let's get into this. Let's get into this video. I think I showed y'all everything on the site. So let me stop sharing. We're gonna get into what I came here for. We're gonna get to what we came here for. So hold on, give me a second. This is what we came here for. I don't want to see no comments, man. Let's get into it.
You. Can everybody hear me on Instagram, Facebook?
Let's fast forward through the bullshit, man.
Matters because what happens, karma is a motherfucker. What up?
Okay. The title of this video is "What did the Arabs that enslaved black people look like?" And when he immediately started his stream, I called him when he first started it, and I asked, "What does it matter? Like, what do that matter? What they look like?" See, I already knew the mind state of this dude. He was going for the "it looks like" method. That all Arabs were black. Arabs were us. We are the Arabs. I already knew exactly which direction he was going for.
Why does it matter what they look like? It matters because what happens, karma is a motherfucker. Karma. Because this is the problem with black folks, so-called black people. If I said they were someone else, then it wouldn't be a problem. Because it's our people, we have a serious problem. So you follow me? So before I start this, I want everybody to do their research. You ain't got to believe me. The same people, and I was up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. While you were sleeping, I was up 5 or 6. You might have been just getting up. But I was up since 5 to 6 this morning, have not slept. It's about 3 o'clock over here now. No, it's about 2 o'clock over here now. Give me 1 second. No, 1 o'clock. 1:41, where I'm at this moment. 1:41 on the West Coast. See, so-called black people love to be comfortable. They love to shift blame on everybody else instead of shifting the blame on ourselves. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to take some people on as soon as I present everything. And what I want you to do at this moment, open up your computer, open up some books, do some research, go get your scholars, and let's sit down and discuss this. I don't deal with color because I've studied history. Nature knows no color line. Nature knows no color line. So I don't know what you meant by what doesn't matter, what they look like. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm going to tell you this. Our people today are doing the exact same thing that their ancient ancestors have done. I don't know if you remember, and if anybody want to disagree with me, do it. But please do your research first. Please get out of your feelings, get out of your emotions, get out of your feelings and out of your emotions. I remember, again, I was coming from London in a car, right? I was talking to an elder that was driving me from London to Manchester. And as he's driving me in the car, he said to me, he was telling me, I think it was like a 4 to 5 hour drive from London to Manchester in the UK. Older brother. And he said to me, find peace within yourself and you find peace within the world. I need y'all to hear this. And I know some of your black power straight up whatever dudes don't want to hear this. You ain't about nothing anyway, but talking, right? And I'm going to share something with you from a sister that shared something with me this morning about the Caribbean.
Oh, what is it with him and Black Power, bro? It's like he hate anything that has to do with the Black Power movement. Why is that? Is that self-hate? Is that self-hate, or is it the Moorish thing where he can't admit that he's a black man? Like, what's wrong with being a part of the Black Power movement, bro? Cut it out with the coonishness.
After this, I don't know why the spirit is using me. I really don't. I told you I don't have no filters. As I was driving from London to Manchester, the brother said, find peace within yourself and you'll find peace within the world. I said, damn, what do you mean? So as we were driving, I remembered everything he said by the time we got to Manchester. And I repeated everything he said. He said, all history is your history. Listen to me again. Driving from Manchester, I don't know if y'all know how far that is. From London to Manchester, about 4 or 5 hour drive. He said, all history is your history. I'm going to repeat that for some of you cats one more time. So y'all don't know what I'm talking about on Instagram. It's what did the Arabs look like that enslaved Africans? What did the Arabs look like who enslaved the Africans? Hopefully by the time I'm finished, and again, I have a study guide. The study guide is going to be bananas. The study guide is going to be sick. It's going to give you documents. It's going to give you the books. It's going to give you everywhere you can find this information. So as I'm driving back from London to Manchester, he said, all history is your history. I said, what do you mean? In my head, I didn't say that to him. He explained himself about what that meant. He said, cats always talk about pulling out libation, right? All history is your history. You can say it's romanticizing. What these black folks about slavery is romanticizing too. They're romanticizing. So as we're talking, he said, we always talk about.
So that's me that he talking to. He said all history is your history. I told him that's romanticism, bro. Like we not everybody. Black people are not everybody, bro. That's a fallacy. We are a group of people. How you gonna claim everybody history and then get mad? We the same people that get mad when people claim our history, whitewash shit. But you doing the same shit. We everywhere. We was everywhere. We was everybody. We indigenous to the planet, bro. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? It don't make no sense. Any logical, critical thinking human being would not promote these felonious concepts. That's bullshit. It's romanticism.
Our libations for our ancestors. What about your other ancestors? What about your ancestors that was the slaveholders? What about your European ancestors? Do you forget your ancestors? Do you forget those ancestors? So this is the older brother. He does a lot of lectures, and he told me you don't never see my pictures on any kind of flyer. His father's from Nigeria. His mother's Caucasian. As we drive in the car, he's telling me the story. He said, all ancestors are your ancestors. You are put here, and I need y'all to listen to me. You are put here to make the change. You, today. You are here to make the change. I know this is hard for some of you black power people. I got that part. It's hard for y'all to digest. He said, you are the one to set the example, to make the changes. That's what he said to me. So when people say we only put out, and we only pull out the same five ancestors, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, we do the same five people. But he said, what about all the other ancestors? Right? Right? So that made me think about it for me. And I said, damn, maybe you ever heard of karma? Have you ever heard of karma?
It's Hindu.
Why these brothers getting shot down in the street? Karma. So I was talking to a sister from the Caribbean. If these black power people are so tough, if you cats are so thorough and so tough, why ain't y'all go kill a cop yet?
You hear this shit? So because we're a part of the Black Power movement, we gotta go kill a cop. That's tough. That's what being thorough is, right? Setting yourself up. He uses the term get out of your emotions a lot. That would be an emotional reaction. You kill a cop, then what? What comes next? We ain't unified like that. We ain't got no army to push back. How many fucking cops has he killed? Why would you tell why would you tell us to do something that you wouldn't do? That's nigga shit. Like, I don't know, man. Let me keep going because that pissed me off.
Our brother ain't your brother either. Because brothers put bullets in you. Did you see the post I just posted up? Did you see the post I posted up about what Malcolm X said? Do you want to see that post? Let me help you out. Just in case you missed that part. They will pay And the cheapest thing you could buy is a nigga and a stick of gum. A nigga and a stick of gum. Right? A nigga and a stick of gum. I told you. I didn't even want to talk about this. I try to avoid these conversations because I know black folks is on one side of their brain, the emotional side. But as he's telling me this, I said, damn, that's kind of cool. Then I spoke with a Jamaican sister this morning. Mind you, I didn't go to bed till 5 or 6 o'clock this morning. I'm just getting up. She said, I don't know what's wrong with you black Americans. She told me don't say her name. See, I said, y'all always want me to be the bad guy, right? She said, that will never want that. Exactly, Nipsey Hussle. Thank you very much. Right? Right? So she said, in the Caribbean, a cop ain't gonna go run around killing somebody and get away with it. Listen to me. They will be killed. We will send assassins to kill them. This is what she said in the Caribbean. She said, don't say my name, Sabir.
This ain't the Caribbean, fam. Like the same shit. The shit that works over there, it might not necessarily work over here. We not connected like that, bro.
I'm sticking to the point. All this has a point. All of this has a point. So if you can't,
and I told him to get back to the point because he likes to do that, bro. He'll set a title of a live stream for one thing and then go off on a tangent about some whole other shit. You're supposed to be talking about Arabs and what they look like. The Arabs that enslaved the black Africans, what did they look like? He talking about slavery in the Caribbeans and shit, like killing police. Like, the fuck is you talking about, bro? What do they have to do with the topic? Get back on topic. I want to hear about what I clicked on the live for.
Comprehend, because
but be patient. It gets better.
Your lack of attention span. That's not Sabir Bey's problem. Because you're used to those Negroes that like to talk black power. You're used to those cats that like to talk cracker. You're used to those people that like to talk white supremacy. That's your life. That's what y'all like. That's why you can't comprehend what I'm saying. Because I believe this is very simple. I believe it's very simple. It's not complicated because you can relate. And I'm talking to him, y'all. I'm talking to him. Just in case y'all don't know who I'm talking about on Instagram. So she said, we would have sent assassins to go kill a cop. Where's you at going to go kill those dudes? Y'all going to protest after, stand in front of the guy's house? Do you know they took those dudes into protected custody, but ain't nobody want to do anything? But let me help you out. Karma. Thank you. I'm on my feed. Because this is where they at. This is where their mindset's at. They talk a good game. They will kill each other, but they won't kill the one that's oppressing you. Think about it. Sticking to the point is all this has to do with the point. All this has to do with karma. All this has to do is what your ancestors have done. It's what your ancestors have done before you. So everything is coming back. Karma, listen to me. Karma does not have to come back the way you think it is. I got shot up 5 times. All the stuff that I have done, do you understand? When I was getting shot, everything that I have ever done, it flashed in my head like you rewinding a tape. You ever push a tape recorder and you rewind that mother freak on the VHS? That's what everything I have done. Karma. So karma's going to come to all for you spiritual people. So when a cop gets shot, I don't cry. When our people, it hurts me that our people get shot, but when are we going to fight back? What do you want to go protest, record it? Think about it. I told you what the sister said from the Caribbean. We don't play those games. They'll be dead. They'll be dead. But we'll sit up here and let this happen. And in another 4 or 5 weeks happen, then we'll post up another video talking about, oh, they killed one of us. Right? Everyone in my lineage isn't An ancestor. Okay, I rock with you on that. But they're still your ancestors. It doesn't matter. You can't.
Pause. I told them everybody in my lineage isn't an ancestor. I think African centered. I'm an African centered person. I try to think as African centered as I can and be as African centered as I can be. Ancestor in common vernacular is one thing. Um, Ancestor in general African culture is another thing. So there are certain things that it takes to be an ancestor. Everybody ain't an ancestor in African culture just because they passed on. You know what I mean? Like that, it don't work that way. So let me let him finish, and then I'll
You
move on.
can't listen. You can separate your friends, but you can't separate from your family. It's your family. Period. It's your family. You follow me? It's your family. Whether you like it or not. If you got a gay cousin, that's your gay cousin. If you got a person that beat up woman in their family, that's your woman. I mean, it's your family.
So if you got a person that beats up women, if you got a man that beats up women in your family, he is still considered an ancestor. Not in African culture, brother. Not in African culture. And I'm gonna show why. I'm gonna show why. Stop sharing, and I'm gonna share. This is the Encyclopedia African Religion by Malefe Kete Asante. It was edited by Brother Asante. So we're gonna take a quick look at what an ancestor is in African culture. Okay. Let me go out a little bit more. Ancestors are those who once lived in human society and having fulfilled certain conditions are now in the realm of the spirit. Certain conditions. One becomes an ancestor by living and dying in a particular way. In African religion, to become an ancestor, one must have lived an exemplary life. An exemplary life, right? Shown devotion to one's own ancestors, respected the elders, and had children. Among various ethnic groups, to become an ancestor, one must have died a good death. That is, one's death must not have been by suicide, accident, or other forms of violence, with the possible exception of heroic deaths on the battlefield. In most societies, those dying of epilepsy, leprosy, lunacy cannot be considered candidates for ancestorhood, and so on and so forth. But my main point in showing this was to show you that anybody, you can't just put that ancestor title on anybody. Not in African culture, not when you're thinking with an African centered mind, because it don't work like that. Just because you died and you was a part of my family or my family lineage, don't mean that you're an ancestor. You have to live a good life. You have to live an exemplary life. That's one of the qualifications. One of several. You can't go around beating up women and then say you're an ancestor. That's not my ancestor, right? So I'm gonna stop sharing that and I'm gonna get back to it. This book is. Hold on, let me go. Let me go back to it and show you the. Let me go back to it and show you the. Well, matter of fact, I'll just tell you. It's the name of the book. It's called The Encyclopedia of African Religions, and I'll put it in the chat. But I'm gonna get back to it. Anytime one of y'all brothers want to jump in, man, just jump in.
That's real. I know you don't want to deal with reality. I got that part. You don't want to deal with reality. But let's go forward now. I know you don't want to deal with reality. That's what people do. And this is why when people sit back and watch people like you, they know how to manipulate somebody like you. See how that works? Let me share with y'all. I'm going into this because I want y'all to get what I'm saying, because it all makes sense. Karen and I was in Oklahoma. We went to Oklahoma, and the elder said that they don't want to talk about this. They didn't want to talk about what was going on in Oklahoma. These are elders we were talking to. My great grandmother was 106. I need y'all to listen to what I'm saying. My great grandmother was 106. She said we could not talk about Moors back then. Peace, sister. We couldn't talk about the Moors back then. But when I asked her the right question, then my grandmother started telling me that we were Moors, but she is actually a Cherokee. Cherokee, I think she was Cherokee. Yeah, Cherokee, South Carolina. One of them. But we couldn't talk about it. When I was in Oklahoma, the elder told us that they could not talk about what took place. The reason why I'm saying this, people, is because we don't want to talk about the truth. Did this make sense? We don't want to talk about what took place back then. And if a person is really a student of history, you would find that information. You would see that in most of our so-called black scholars. Majority of our black scholars, you will actually see that. They don't want to talk about it. Shh, mom's the word. I got documents showing that they said we're going to keep this quiet. You follow me? They want to keep it quiet. All of your politicians, all of your black leaders, all of your black scholars, right, know exactly what I'm talking about, but they want to keep it hush hush. And this is why stuff like this is never mentioned. This is why the HBCU didn't want the student to come from this book. This is why the so-called black college in Howard in Houston, Texas, didn't want the student to come out of this book. What was in this book that she had, the professor? What was in this book that the professor had that the professor did not want the student to come out of? What was in this book when she had the exact same book? She told the student, listen to me. She said, our school is a conservative school. We can't talk about this, right? Listen to me. I need y'all to pay attention. The Moors of Guinea. People don't want to talk because they are fearful. Exactly. This whole book speaks about our ancestors and what took place. Listen to me. I'm going into this because I want to talk about why these Arabs and what they look like. Talk to me. Why these documents are not inside the African American Museum? Why aren't these documents in the African American museums from Afro-American newspapers, 1930? Afro-American. Why? Langston Hughes is African American. Am I right or wrong? Somebody talk to me for a minute. Langston Hughes is African American. Am I right? Talk to me. Why would he say that the Moors are being used as pawns? I don't know, sister. I don't know who they are. Y'all can find out who they are. Why? And I got the argument. You know how long I had these papers? You know what African American Museum never reached out to me? Do you know that not one African American museum reached out and said, let me talk to you for a second? Would Spain fall to the same Moorish tribes, not tribe, tribes? That means more than one, right? That was in 1938.
So why would you be bringing us some shit about Moors from 1938? Why wouldn't you bring something more contemporary? 1978 or 1938? It's in the 20th century. So, nah, you know what? I'll wait. I'll let them keep going. Dig yourself in the hole.
1938, right? Give me 1 second. Everything I'm building up to it, y'all. Okay? I'm building up. I need some celebrities support me. You think they'll support me? This one right here, right? Let me help you. Let me let y'all see this. From this article right there, bear with me. I knew that this is the Moors' original Medic tribes of Berber and Hamitites in northern Africa. They were dark skinned, sometimes almost black, but often display the olive hue complexion of certain of the Caucasian people. Shouldn't this be in the African American Museum, y'all?
They said they often display olive skin tone more closer to Caucasian people. But he never gives that any credence. He skips right over that. Why would there be olive colored Moors more closer to Caucasians? If all the Moors were black, then why would they say that? Right? If all Moors were black, there should be no olive colored closer to Caucasian Moors. Right? But we know that. We know they're not. We know they're white Moors. You should. If you've been paying attention to the videos that I put up on this channel, if you've been paying attention to the videos that I put on Kofi Pasai TV, I did one about the Tuaregs. I did one on Niger Valley Civilization, this actual channel, explaining and showing the white Moors. And I use primary sources, contemporary sources. So he's bringing some shit from 1900s, the 20th century, and I show you contemporary documents that's telling you it's white Moors and it's black Moors. There is no homogenous set of Moors. But notice how he just glosses over that and he doesn't acknowledge it.
Shouldn't this be in the African American Museum? We're going to get into the Arabs, though. Bear with me, okay? I'm just revving it up to make sense. Let's move to this article that Langston Hughes wrote, and we don't hear about it. Langston Hughes said, I knew that Spain once belonged to the Moors. He keeps saying we got to talk about it. We're going to get into that. If you pay attention, you should pick up some books. You should pick some books up. I knew that Spain once belonged to the Moors, and colored people, ranging from light dark to dark white. So even though, let me bring this up. See, this is, I don't know if you knew. I think you should go get your scholars. I think you should go watch all my videos, every last one of my videos. Go to YouTube, check out some videos on YouTube, and you'll see it. Because I don't know where your definition of where you're getting it from, but you see what hand on there. But I can show you facts on top of facts, and even if you show these cats the facts, they're gonna still turn and say, "No, brother."
Hold on, what happened? Did he delete the video? Oh no, here it is.
Do you know that? Let me help y'all out. Bear with me. Y'all again, do your research on this. Right? I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from Philly. This is from 1913. Dark race living in the northern part of Africa. Dark. That's in the Philadelphia.
Go back and skip some shit.
Of Caucasian people. Shouldn't this be in the African American Museum, y'all? Shouldn't this be in the African American Museum? We're gonna get into the Arabs. Don't bear with me, okay? I'm just revving it up to make sense. Let's move to this article. We'll get into that if I'm like. I think you should go watch all my videos, every last one of my videos. Go to YouTube, check out some videos on YouTube. They're gonna still turn and say, "No, brother, but these are Arabs." But we're gonna explain that in 1 second. Okay? Give me 1 second, all right? Because I love these new dudes. They must.
Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second.
In the Philadelphia Art Museum. That's called. This is the most looked at picture in the Philadelphia Art Museum. That's in the Philadelphia Art Museum. So let me move forward. Let's go. This is from 1913. The Moors, a dark race, not dark religion, dark race. Well, what you could do is pick up some books. The dark race living in the northern part of Africa. I was over Spain. I was in Morocco. I was in Tunis. This is not Sabir that's pulling up books. Let me help you out one more time. This is not pulling up book. Okay. If it's not a Moorish chief, then what you can do is go to the art museum.
It's Morris Chief. It's Morris Chief that he's talking about. Let's check that out. I told him it wasn't a Morris Chief. But, you know, you gotta stick with his guns. So boom. This is what he's calling a Morris Chief. Right here. This brother. Now, this is from the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And I will, hold on, give me a second, and I will drop it in the chat so that all y'all can go and check it out. 'Cause I don't got nothing to hide. Notice he had that old ass dictionary that he was pulling from, or whatever. I'm assuming it's a dictionary. He really didn't give a source for it.
I left me and Mars in the back because we had to, so I wrapped yours up and
Where am I? Where am I? Okay. Yeah. Moore's chief. Looking down at us, a tall man in white robes stands in the doorway of an impressive palace. People have marveled at this painting's detail and speculated about its subject for over 100 years, but no one knows for sure who the man is because it is not a portrait. The artist used. Hold on. Oh, wait. Let me rewind that. People have marveled at this painting's detail and speculated about its subject for over 100 years, but no one knows for sure who the man is, right? Because it's not a portrait. The author used a costumed model. The artist used a costumed model standing in a Moorish palace. The painting is filled with many realistic details. Look at the man's clothing. He is dressed in a kind of hooded cloak, sometimes called a burnous, and typically worn by Arabs and Moors. On his head is a kafia, a headdress that almost completely covers a crimson cap underneath. Look for two look for two richly damascented scabbards. I know I butchered those words, but they are decorated sword covers stuck in his gold embroidered belt. One scabbard is empty. What is he holding in the right hand? It's a slender sword, the blade pointed downwards like an extension of his muscular arm. The background of this painting is based on the Alhambra. Alhambra is what dude always talking about, bragging about going to, right? A famous fortress overlooking the city of Granada, Spain. The Alhambra was built during the 13th and 14th centuries by Moors, Muslims from Northwest Africa. Let me rewind that. The Alhambra was built during the 13th and 14th century by Moors, who are Muslims from northwestern Africa. Those aren't tribes. Those aren't uh, people that's all dark. Those aren't people that's all light. Those are Muslims of northwest Africa, right? So this is who um, the Philadelphia Museum of Art is saying that Moors are, right? Well, let's continue. Who ruled large portions of Spain, not the whole of Spain, large portions. They never ruled the entire territory of Spain, large portions of Spain from 711 CE until 1492 CE, right? Although Spain is part of the European continent, it is located just across the Strait of Gibraltar from North Africa. The painting probably gets its current title, The Moorish Chief, from the Moorish architecture in the background. So they don't even know who this dude is, who this brother is in the painting. Nobody knows. Everybody has been speculating for over 100 years because it is it is not a portrait, right? It's not a portrait. The artist used a costumed model, right? And they don't even know where the title of it comes from. They're saying it probably comes from the Moorish architecture in the background. Well, it seems to be a Moorish looking figure, but where they get the title of chief, um, yeah, they just pretty much guess. But when it was the first exhibited in 1878, it was called the Guardian of the Seraglio. Seraglio.
Yeah, I will.
Seraglio is the name for the special quarters in a Muslim residence where the women of the household were sheltered from strangers. So this title identified the man as guard of the women in the palace. Right. However, after being purchased by Philadelphia collector John G. Johnson in 1892, the painting was the painting was listed as the Alhambra Guard. So let's run it back real quick. When it was first exhibited in 1878, it was called the Guardian of the Seraglio, right? A Seraglio. Seraglio. Okay, gotcha. I learned Spanish, so I needed to pronounce that correctly. But yeah, basically, man, they don't know who this guy is. They don't know who this dude is. The title of Moorish chief came way later. This is not a Moorish chief. That's just a title, right? So me trying to explain this to him, I guess means nothing. He already got he already got his ways. He's set in his ways. He already feel like he know. He getting money from people, begging for money on the internet all day, and in return, he's spreading misinformation. Let's go back to
And tell them that's not a Moorish chief. Could you do me that favor? Go to Philadelphia, go online, and say it is not a Moorish chief. All right, let's move forward. I told you when I started, please do your research first on everything I said. Please get out your feelings and do your research. Please do your research, get out your feelings. Okay, because I can run down the line. What you can do is do your own research. That's it. That's all you can do. I'm not here to hold your hand. Isaiah Washington had it behind him too.
so
No, he's not a distraction. He's with the Black Power movement. That's what's going on. Don't worry about it, y'all. Don't worry about it. Let me handle this. So let me handle this. I want y'all to do your research because what this is doing is only leading up to why I'm speaking on what I'm speaking on. It's only confirming why I'm doing this because you got them that know this but turn ahead. Like, oh my God, we don't want that. So I'm going to show y'all something. Okay, now let's move forward. So there's a difference between the Atlantic slave trade and slave trade. Do you know that? Let me help y'all out. Bear with me. Y'all again, do your research on this. Right? I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from Philly. So let me help y'all out. Give me 1 second. The trans-Saharan slave trade. Give me 1 second. Are y'all ready? Let me help y'all out. Do your research. You can punch this up. I want y'all to research this. And I know some of these conscious black cats are going to research it, but they would never tell you where they got it from. They're not going to say they got it from Sabir Bey. But here you go. The trans-Saharan slave trade. During the 8th century, the Fatima Caliphate, most of their slaves were Europeans. So what I had to do is look up this word. I'll go back into that. I had to look that word up. right? I want y'all to research. Instead of him arguing, he should do the research. He should really do the research on everything. Do y'all see this? I want y'all to look this up. The first, this is the 8th century. So who was enslaving who? Who is enslaving who first, y'all? Remember what I told you about karma? Do y'all remember what I just told you at the beginning of the karma, right? Everything that's happening to our people is because of the karma that we bestowed upon the people. So the people that can make the change is the people, you and I. You and I are the ones that can make the change. Okay? If he don't pay attention, I'm gonna block him. I'm gonna get him off the feed because he's not going to pay attention. I want him to research this. I'm giving you the resources to go research, right? He's having his own personal issues within himself because he's caught up in Pan-Africanism. But I want y'all to research this, right? Let's move forward. Let's move forward. So all these things people had to look up. Tipple Tip. Let's see who Tipple Tip looked like. Y'all ready? Let's find out who this was. Let's see if I can find him real fast. Give me 1 second. Is that the Arab right there? Let's go into the, hold up. Would that be the Arab? Is it making sense, people? Karma's a mother freaker. Hold up. We're gonna talk about this. Okay? See, I remember I told you that we don't want to talk about the past, about what happened. We don't want to talk about the past. Let's go a little further. Let me see if I can find this. Karma's a mother freaking. Slavers descended not proud or ashamed. Do the research, y'all. See, when you travel, right, you will get this.
All right, so he showed a picture of a dark-skinned Arab to say, "Yo, that's us. We was enslaving them first, right?" And that's his justification. I'm assuming this his justification for Europeans enslaving, systematically enslaving sub-Saharan Africans, right? So I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm gonna go here. So we can understand that dark skin is not, let me see how I want to say this. Sub-Saharan Africans, Negroes, however you want to classify, do not have a monopoly on dark skin, right? We're not the only ones that can have dark skin. So let's read this. Let's read this. I lose my place. I lost my place, but that's okay. All we gotta do is go up here. It's okay. Geographic distribution. That's where we at. There's a correlation between the geographic distribution of UV radiation and the distribution of skin pigmentation around the world. Areas that have higher amounts of UVR have darker skinned populations. UVR again is ultraviolet radiation, right? So the closer to the equator that you are, the higher the distribution of UV rays, ultraviolet radiation rays, right? So essentially, the closer to the equator you are, the darker skinned the indigenous people will be, right? So let me keep going. Areas that have a higher amounts of UVR have darker skin populations, generally located nearer the equator. Areas that are further away from the equator and generally closer to the poles have lower concentration of UVR and contain lighter skin populations. So the further away you get from the equator, the closer you get to the poles, which is North Pole, South Pole, right? The closer you get to the poles, the lighter the indigenous populations will be because there is a much less distribution of ultraviolet rays. This is the result of human evolution, which distributed to variable melanin content in the skin to adapt to certain environments. A large percentage of dark skinned people are found in the southern hemisphere because latitudinal landmass distribution is disproportionate. I'll explain to you what that means in a second. The present distribution of skin color variation does not completely reflect the correlation of the UVR and dark skin populations due to mass migration and movement of peoples across the continents in the recent past. So, what it's saying is you might have populations now that are close to the equator that might not be as dark as they should be, and this comes from mass migration. People moving here, people moving there, people moving away to the poles, or people moving closer to the poles. People moving away from the equator, people moving closer to the equator. People are migrating and moving a lot more than they would have been doing in ancient times. So when we speak of these uh, people that are closer to the equator and have darker skin, these are the indigenous populations. The indigenous populations. There's a difference between a native and an indigenous, right? So let's keep going. Dark skinned populations inhabiting Africa, Australia, Melanesia, Papua New Guinea, and South Asia all live in some of the areas with the highest UV radiation in the world and have evolved very dark skin pigmentations as protection from the sun's harmful rays. Evolution has restricted humans with darker skin in tropical latitudes, especially in non forested regions where ultraviolet radiation from the sun is usually the most intense. Different dark skin populations are not necessarily closely related genetically. Hold on, let's rewind that again, right? Because that's a big point. Different dark skin populations are not necessarily closely related genetically. What is that saying? That's saying that you can have a dark skinned population in sub Saharan Africa, and you can have a dark skinned population over in India. And that doesn't mean they are necessarily genetically related, recently related, right? That don't mean that. We aren't all the same people just because we have dark skin. That's a fallacy. That's a big mistake. I did a whole presentation on this, right? It's called um, what was my presentation called? It was the last presentation I did on this channel. It was called Black is Beautiful. and I go into the eumelanin, the science behind eumelanin, dark skin, and so forth. So hold on, let me get my brother Kofi back in. Let me get my brother Kofi back in. Hold on one second. One second, family. Okay. Different dark skin populations are not necessarily closely related genetic. So yeah, again, you can have a dark skin population in, let's say, South America, the indigenous dark skin population of South America. That don't just because they're dark skinned, just because they have eumelanin, which is the black or brown melanin of the skin that gives skin pigmentation. Just because we both share eumelanin, we both have dark skin, doesn't mean that we are the same people or we are genetically related to each other, right? You are your own people. We are our own people. We just have dark skin. Why? Because our indigenous populations and our indigenous ancestors come from territories that are close to the equator, which produce higher levels of ultraviolet radiation. So I hope everybody get that, man. I don't want to harp too long on that. Let's keep going. Let's go back to Bebe.
We got to be responsible because you're not paying attention, brother. And people say you're irritating them. What I want you to do is research everything that's on here. Okay? All I ask you to do is do the research. Get out your feelings. People want you to spoon feed them. Exactly. And so they don't have to put in work. If exactly, they want you to spoon feed them. I'm not talking about the Morris Chief. What he should do to disprove me about the Morris Chief to do his own research. Just do the research on the Morris Chief. That's all they got to do. I'm not here to talk about the Morris Chief. Go do the research on the Morris Chief. That's it. So let's move forward. Slave descendants not proud. Zanzibar, Tanzania. So karma, people. Karma.
You know what else? I actually wanted to give a visual. I know a lot of people have seen this already, but I actually almost forgot. I want to give a visual of um, this concept of being closer to the equator, right? And how will I do that? With the skin color map. This is, I don't know what I'm doing. This is the skin color map, right? And as you see, This is the equator. Oh no, my bad. This is the equator. Matter of fact, let me get a better image of this skin color map with the equator, with a clear depiction of the equator. All right, because this is easy, bro. This is easy, bro. This is light work. Okay, right. Let's get this. Let's get a better image of this skin color map. Right? Here we go. This is a better image. Yeah, I was right. This is the equator here, right? Now, the closer to the equator, as you see, the darker the population, the darker the indigenous population, right? And you see as you get further away from the equator, which is here, and closer to the poles, North Pole, South Pole, the lighter the indigenous populations, right? And I don't know why they have them so light on the in the Americas, but when you see Africa, this is a perfect representation. And you see in Arabia, here, right? You see in Southern Arabia, you see how close to the equator they are. You see the darker skinned populations, right? You even see over in East Asia, right? The darker skinned populations in India and so forth, right? So essentially, the closer to the equator, the darker the indigenous population. So let's keep going.
Karma. I just told you what the sister told me in the Caribbean. She said, we would never let a cop kill our people and get away with it. We would send assassins out to them. I brought it up, brothers, for the point of saying that's a famous painting. Did you hear what I said? It was a famous painting in the Philadelphia Art Museum. The most famous looked at painting. Don't argue with me. Go to the art museum. Go tell them that they're wrong. Tell them they're wrong. Now, do the research on it. Exactly. It all still comes from us. They're not paying attention to this. Okay, the only way you can do a video showing it as is that you actually go there. Unless you went to Spain, and unless you went to the art museum, you can't do no videos throwing something off of Google or Wikipedia. That's not going to work. Tanzania, she talked about the history, how her ancestors, how he had slaves, people, was known as tipple tip for the sound. I told you, some of our people you just can't help. You are not going to be able to help a lot of our people. You cannot help them. This is why karma is a motherfucker. So we are the ones that can make the changes. We have to. I just want y'all to research this. Just research it. Because these are documents that's overseas. This is not Wikipedia. Let me help y'all out one more time. See, this is the problem. They tell you that you can't use Wikipedia. I'm just using that. So if I pull out, can I pull out the books too? If I pull out the books, damn Negroes, you do everything. If I pull out the books, if I go overseas, if I have the documents, damn niggas will still argue with you. I just showed you documents when I was overseas, documents in books, documents me talking to people. God damn, people. This is why we're not getting nowhere. We're going to move forward. Woo! Let's move forward. I appreciate the research you do. It's research. I'm never in my feelings, brother. You on my feed. I'm never in my feelings. I want these people on the feed to please show me some books, show me some authentic documents that they went overseas and got, something like that to help me. I will rock with you. So let's move forward. I know these people are in their feelings right now. I got that part. Let's move forward. They said, I'm in my feelings. No, dude, I'm just listen, this is why I be trying to hold back from some of these conversations because they're not even comprehending what I'm saying. They don't want to comprehend what I'm saying. They don't want to. I'm wondering why they won't hit that button. I don't know why they won't hit the button either. If they hit the button, I hope they come with some strictly facts. I just hope they come not with their opinions or their belief system. I hope they come with some either sources from a book or documents when they was over there. Why they on the feed? Since they on the feed for a reason. It's self-explanatory why they on the feed. So let's move forward. Are everybody okay? So the point of the matter, those Arabs that you look at was basically melanated people. Those people are melanated people.
Now, what the hell is a melanated person? We got to get out of using that terminology. This is why I did the Black is Beautiful presentation. This is why I just stressed that um, dark skinned populations are not necessarily genetically related. You can have different dark skinned populations from different areas, and those not be the same people, those not be related. Um, we have to stop using that type of terminology, melanated people. Just because one has you melanin doesn't mean you should see yourself in those people, right? Because it's dark skinned populations in India. Like I said, it's dark skinned populations in South America. It's dark skinned populations in many other places. But that doesn't mean that you, as an African American, should be or should feel that those are your people. Your people come from a specific area, a specific set of areas, and dark skin doesn't make one into someone else. So let's keep going.
I'm gonna say this again. Those people are melanated people. The same people that put us where we are at today is the same ones in the past. So what we're getting today is called karma. 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 So we have to fix the problems, people. We have to fix those problems. Period. It's called karma. This is why I gave you the whole story when I was coming from London to Manchester. The brother said, all history is your history. He said, you are the one that's going to have to make the change. You. Now, you can research what I said thoroughly. I don't want you to follow me. Sabir Bey don't need you to believe me. Sabir wants you to believe in yourself and research the information. And be honest with yourself. When you find the information, you will say, yo, he was right. So was infighting. Exactly. We were in-house fighting. Listen, y'all, I could share so much with you. I told y'all how the Alhambra fell. I told you how the Alhambra fell. I was in the Alhambra in Spain. I went to the Alcazar. I went to all of these places sitting with people, not for vacation. So that was the Sahara. So everybody that sits on these feeds or in this society, Europeans are taking advantage of everything too. Look at our people right now. Look at the people on Facebook right now. Just pay attention to the people on Facebook. Now, of everything that I said research, I see if they researched it. See if they go research it, not just doing a video. Right? Let's see if they research that. All this stuff that's happening with our people is because of karma. And also, the people that's in positions as these white people, they are only taking advantage of the ignorance. And this is why they say black ignorance is $1 trillion industry. Black ignorance is $1 trillion industry. So everybody profits off of that. And this is why I told you my great grandmother didn't want to talk about this. And I told you when I was in Oklahoma, the lady said, "Oh, we don't want to talk about that." This is what she said. Because if we don't talk about it, right? If we don't talk about it, it's going to continue. And this is why I don't know why the ancestors are speaking through me, because I didn't have nothing planned, but I was up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, literally up 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, going through different documents on top of documents saying, damn, well, that makes sense. And I do, I'm from Wikipedia. Yes, we are the ancestors.
Hold on, man, because I ain't trying to hear a bunch of, I ain't trying to have them talk me to death like honestly, man.
With the brothers, they were Arabs. The Arabs look like you and I. Let's go into the Atlantic slave trade. Are y'all ready? The truth hurts. Everyone can digest. I already know that, sister. The truth hurts, and they can't digest this, but they're gonna get it. Steve will handle that. Yes, we have to take responsibility to not repeat it again. So let's talk about the Atlantic slave trade. Remember that I told you about the Arabs, right? They kept saying it was the Arabs. Now I just showed you who the Arab was, right? The Arabs were us. Us. Right? It was us. So the European is sitting back watching this. Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing. The Portuguese did it too. They said, yeah, Spanish too. I told you when I was in Spain, in Seville, when they were in 1491 and in 1492, in the center city of Seville, Spain. And I did a video when I was there, it's on my Patreon, how they were cutting our heads off and setting us on fire. I'm not gonna cut nobody off, brother. I don't stop that. Stop that lying. I said I would give y'all 3 to 5 minutes. If you can't scratch it, if you can't put 3 to 5 minutes in with facts, not your opinion, not your belief, then it is what it is. Stop with the lying. I said 3 to 5 minutes and I did it again last night. Stop. Okay? Stop the lying. We ain't got time for the emotionalism. And I just showed you did he just miss that? All the talking. I just said it. I did it last night. I just did it last night twice. 5 minutes. State your facts. 5 minutes less. 5 minutes or less. 5 minutes or less. That's the past. This is now. But anywho, let's go forward before I continue. I just showed you who the Arabs are. Where the other Arab book at? Listen, let's deal with reality. So let's go real fast before we get into this. Transatlantic slave trade. Thank you. They can leave, but they don't want to leave. So they can leave, but they don't want to leave. He said his muscles are strong from typing. Transatlantic slave trade started when? Began in the 15th century. In the 15th century. Right? Do y'all see that? With what? Did I just show y'all with the West Africans? Why was I going to Portugal to find all this information? Why was I going to these places to find out what took place? Why did I go to here to find out what was taking place with our people? With the Atlantic slave trade, not the Sahara slave trade, not with the Arab slave trade. Okay? Mm-mm. Now, what was taking place at this particular time and why? What was taking place at these particular times? Yes, he said Mansa Musa was a black slave trader. Yes, they were. Damn, somebody said Mansa Musa. Let me help you out. Listen, this is true. I know y'all don't want to hear this, but it's true, right? So, listen to me. Listen. I'm from the streets, and if somebody don't like it, I'll keep saying that I'm from the streets. Anybody from the streets know if you shoot somebody in the arm, they're not come back and shoot you in your arm. They're going to come back and kill you. Period. Right?
Yo, so romanticism is something that I've never been a fan of. So, I'm not tripping if he said Master Musa had slaves. He did. But to say that was a reason or justification for the transatlantic slave trade, first of all, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. How is that justification? Did he have European slaves? Or did he have other sub-Saharan African slaves? What would that have to, if he had other sub-Saharan African slaves, what would that have to do with Europeans? What goes around comes around. Explain what you mean. Because he had slaves don't mean that they were European. Where's he getting this from? I don't think he really knows too much about Cancan Musa. A lot of people say little shit. He was the richest man, and so on and so forth. They like to cherry pick the shit they say, or they gloss over some shit, or they heard some shit from somewhere. Uh, but I ain't mad at the fact that he said that. We can't romanticize. We got to take the good, the ugly, and the bad. Master Musa had slaves. I ain't tripping. But don't try to use that to distort it into something else, an inaccurate point. That's crazy.
So because we did it different, that don't mean that I'm going to do it different. I'm going to take full advantage of this. So what's happening that your black scholars are basically taking a full advantage of all of your ignorance, all of the ignorance that is happening with our people. So they're taking full advantage of it because they know their history. Do you know that in the Caribbean, how many people from here in the Caribbean? Let me ask you a question. How many people are here from the Caribbean? Raise your hand. Yes, he was a merchant trader, but he was still was a trader. How many people from the Caribbean? Let's talk about it for a minute. Let's get some people from the Caribbean on here. Now, I feel like I'm actually Senegalese. Wow. And this is history. Oh, we got a Senegalese brother on here. He said, I am actually Senegalese. And this is history. See, people study these histories overseas.
Also, man, the indigenous African concept of slavery was much different than the European concept of slavery that we endured during the transatlantic slave trade. It's two different things. Like it's levels to this shit. A slave is just not a slave. Like it's levels. So to make it seem as though indigenous African slavery was the same as the slavery that Europeans forced upon us is just deceitful.
They get deep into history. Are you Wolof? Are you Wolof, brother? Are you Wolof? Because Wolof is in here. And by way of Caribbean. So, how many people in the Caribbean talk about slavery? How many of our people really talk about slavery in the Caribbean? So I see the Bahamas, I see Jamaica here, I see a lot of people in here. How many people talk about slavery every day in the Caribbean the way black folks do? Because I know they told me Jamaicans and they don't talk about slavery like that. Come on. They'll tell you y'all sellouts because y'all not talking about slavery. Some of my family was dropped off in the 8th century in the Caribbean. Somebody said no. Nobody said no. Everybody's saying no. Okay, come on. How many people in the Caribbean talks about slavery as it's a badge of honor? Not every day. They said not every day. Look, they said not every day. Come on, y'all. My Jamaican roommate said Jamaicans were never slaves. Ooh, really? Hold up. I never heard anybody talk about it. Here we go. We got Caribbean people on here. Hold up. Let's go. I've never heard anybody talk about it. Come on. I guess I'm wrong with this too. I guess I know everybody that's on here. I guess these people are ignorant too. Think about it. If I can relegate your history straight into slavery, then that's all you want to think about. So our people have to think beyond that.
We African Americans, bro. We not Caribbean Americans. What they do, those are our brothers. Those are our people. But essentially, we are our own people, African Americans, right? So what they do and how they feel has no bearing on us. You know, those are our people, those are our brothers and our sisters, but we are us. We are our own people. We are African Americans. So because they choose to romanticize and leave out slavery or choose not to talk about it, that's cool. You know, that's on them. That's what they choose to do. But here, we're not gonna forget it. We're not gonna forget it. We're not gonna let it go. We're not gonna move on until we feel justified, right? My Karu. So maybe you should just move to the Caribbean. If that's how he feels, you don't want to hear about slavery. I mean, I get it. We America, we do talk about slavery a lot, but that was a big traumatic experience for us, just like it was for our brothers in the Caribbean too. You know, like I ain't taking nothing away from them, but if they choose to disregard it and say it didn't happen, that's them. We not doing that though. We embracing all of our history, not just slavery. If you watch Kofi Pasa TV, if you watch the Masi Warrior Clan, if you watch this channel, Niger Valley Civilization, you know we discuss so much more than slavery.
We have to realize before slavery, we was doing a lot. Negroes love to talk about kings and queens, brother. We were kings and queens, brother. Everybody wasn't kings and everybody wasn't queens, god darn it. Stop. Stop.
Now that I do agree with him on.
Stop. 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 Everybody was not kings and everybody was not queens. I understand the concept. I'm with it. I'm with it. Come on, people. Stop. We had all the caste systems. We had them everywhere. Karma is a mug. So think about what I'm saying to y'all. People on the outside looking at us. This is why when I went overseas, they didn't know where I was from. They are trying to figure me out. I'm in Grenada. The European, which y'all like to say the white guy, asked me about the Alhambra. He thought I didn't know about the Alhambra. He said, what do you want to know? He popped out of nowhere, fluent English. What do you want to know about the Alhambra? I said, damn, what do you mean what I want to know about the Alhambra? Really? I said, I know about the Alhambra. The North Africans built the Alhambra. We built the Alhambra. And when I said that to him, his whole facial expression changed.
See, you're doing it again. You're not from North Africa, bro. If you are the ethnicity of African American, which he is, regardless of what he chooses to call himself, that's what he is classified as. You didn't come from North Africa. Where are those ships at? Where are those transatlantic slave ships coming from North Africa to the Americas? Where they at? Somebody show them to me. Show me those ships. Show me a slave ship coming from North Africa, from Mauritania, from Morocco, from any place in Northwest Africa that went to the Americas. Show me that. You're not from North Africa, bro. African Americans as a whole are by large from Central and West Sub-Saharan Africa. We have a small percentage coming from Southern Africa, very small percentage. But we don't come from North Africa.
So it's not just the books that I'm coming from, people. Every book that I have had with me, I travel with those books. I literally travel with 10 books with me, at least 10 books overseas. And on top of that, I accumulate and buy more books that's over. I have books that's in Spanish, books that's in Arabic. Think about it.
Yeah, brother Bakari, I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. You know what I mean? If you choose to replace the word nigga with king or queen, that's cool. I respect that because you know what? I really don't use the N word like that. You know what I mean? I don't use it at all unless I really need it. Like you really got to be doing some ignorant shit. You really got to be doing some ignorant stuff, or your personality as a whole is just ignorant, crazy. Other than that, I don't use that word, unless I really mean it. So, I ain't mad at nobody choosing to replace nigga with a more uplifting term, as long as we understand that we weren't all kings and queens. As long as we understand that, and most of, I don't want to say all and generalize it, but think about it. If we were sold, if we were captured as prisoners of war, right, and sold, how many of those would have been kings? How many of those would have been queens? A very, very extremely small percentage, if any. So I ain't mad at anybody for trying to swap words to uplift our people. As long as you understand, like we wasn't all queens and kings. That wasn't it.
I have books that I have bought in my journey, and it was not free. So it's not Sabir Bey's going to Wikipedia. The problem with our people is that if it didn't come from a so-called black scholar, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it because you don't want reality and you don't want truth. You want to drink out the trauma cup. The trauma cup is my enslavement was worse than your enslavement. My slavery was worse than yours. Slavery was big. Slavery was big business. It was pale people who began. What? Listen, it wasn't just pale people. It was our people. And if you just got on here, watch the beginning of it. It was not just pale people. It was our people. Period. Listen, we talk about from prison to from school to pipeline, whatever they call this thing. You ever hear that? People say that. Prisons is big business right now in the 21st century. Man, you can get locked up for parking tickets. That's called big business. That's called a slave. Do y'all know that? Because we have the wrong people sitting in these places speaking for us, like attorneys, these politicians. It's big business. You have to pay money to get out. Am I right or wrong? And if you don't have the money, you do what? You sit in that motherfucker, right? Right? You sit in it. It's big business. Period. But y'all don't want to talk about it. Let's go back to the talk about part again. We don't want to talk about that. Rather, it's a private prison, public prison. It's prison. It's jail. It's slavery. Period. You make masses of money. And this is why when people get locked up, you ever notice when you get locked up, they use this term that you paying it off. Like you can sit in jail for every month, every day that you in there, your fees are getting lower and lower. It's the same thing, people. It's the exact same thing. You're paying your debt to society. But if people would talk about these issues, if we would talk about these things, maybe we can fix it. But the problem is in history, we don't want to talk about it. And that's what's one of the books that I had read the other day, talk about the church. How the churches would not talk about it. They said, let's keep it amongst ourselves. Don't talk about it. Shh. Do you think that all these elite people, these politicians, these black people, don't know what the hell is going on? Do you think that these African American museums, people at the top, don't know the history of the Moors? And why is it that the Moors are the only people that they don't want you to talk about, which are you? You are those people, but you reject it. The truth comes and you reject it. I don't need you to follow me. I'm not here for you to.
I showed earlier. Well, actually, he showed earlier. An article that was explaining the Moors, what they look like, right? It was from the 20th century, but he kind of boomerang dagged himself with his own source. Like the shit said, you had dark Moors, some were black, quote unquote, and but most of them were uh, olive skin complexion, uh, more close to Europeans or Caucasians, right? So now he's saying he disregarded that. He disregarded the part about most Moors looking olive skin more closer to the Caucasian. But now he's telling you that you are the Moors, right? So there's a contradiction there. Huge contradiction. Let's figure it out though. Let's figure it out. Let's see. Let's see what I got. This is okay. Okay, I'm gonna go up and show y'all the source. This is from Maria Cristina Ramos, PhD. Uh, this was her dissertation, PhD dissertation from 2001. We'll go back down to where we were. Right. The term Moor has a long and contested history, both as a historical figure and as an image representing various ideas. While it generally has been used to refer to various populations of people who have historically inhabited Africa, its significance changed over time. Don't know if y'all got that. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna rewind that just in case y'all didn't catch it. The term Moor has a long and contested history, both as a historical figure and as an image representing various ideas. While it generally has been used to refer to various populations. You know what various is, right? That's not a homogenous people, right? It's various populations of people who have historically inhabited North Africa, right? The Muslims from North Africa. These are what Moors historically were. And these are what Moors historically were in medieval time. But that term Moor, as I just read, it shifts and changes over time. So the etymology of the word might be one thing, how it was historically used in the medieval period might be another thing, and how it's used in modern or contemporary literature could be a whole different thing, right? So if anybody tells you that more means one thing throughout time, you know that that's bullshit. You know that that's bullshit. So let's keep going. Ross, in his article, The Moors, Ross Brand considers the meaning and significance of Moorish identity in literary works, film, and scholarship. Brand notes that even today, the figure is employed regularly in academic circles and popular culture without much question or reflection and without clarification of who precisely the Moors are. So basically, a lot of people talk about these Moors in modern or contemporary times, but they don't really get into who they were or who they are. Recounting history of the use of the term Moor, he explains Andalusi Arabic sources, as opposed to later Mudehar and Morisco sources in uh, Alajamidado, whatever this shit is, neither refer to individuals as Moors nor recognize any such group, community, or culture, right? So when you're talking about Moriscos were Moors, which again, Moors are uh, Muslims from Northwest Africa. They don't have a color attached to them. They don't have a tribe attached to them. They just Muslims from Northwest Africa. It's an exonym. An exonym is a term placed on a certain group of people by outsiders. So notice he uses the term Ethiopian, which is another exonym. These people in the territory we know today as Ethiopia never historically considered themselves Ethiopians. That was a Greek term placed on them by Europeans. That's called an exonym. These people don't refer they didn't refer to themselves that way, right? Moors, same exact thing. When you read these Arabic sources, you don't really see that. You don't really see them calling themselves Moors. Why? Because that's a term placed on them by outsiders. What do they call themselves? Guess what? They have specific names and titles for themselves. Right? If you were a Berber, they would call you a Berber. If they knew the specific Berber tribe, if you like, for example, if you were a Tuareg, they would call you a Tuareg. right? If you were Son Haja, they would call you Son Haja, right? If you were uh, a black African, if they wanted to throw a general term on you, they would just say you are a Sudani. But for the most part, they name tribes, they name groups of people, they name ethnicities. When you get into these Arabic sources, right? They are specific because they deal with these people. They aren't generalizing an entire group of people. That's a European thing. We never did that. We never did that. The Arabs didn't do that. That's a European thing, right? And Mudehar is the goddess, the Visigoths that were in Spain. And Moriscos, I don't know. I don't know if I got to that. Moriscos are Moors that converted from Islam to Christianity. All right, so we're gonna stop. We're gonna keep going. Almost done, man.
Cheerlead me. I need you to do your own research. I can pull out sources on top of sources. Now that's up to you to do your research. That is not up to Sabir Bey. That is not up to me. Those black people have European mindsets. Exactly. And that you ain't never lied about that one. You never lied about that. But this is why Frantz Fanon said what he said in his book. That's why he said all they asked of the black man is to be a good nigga and the rest will follow. This is why he said this. All they ask of the black man is to be a good nigga and the rest will follow on its own. All they ask of the black man is to be a good nigga and the rest will follow on its own. That's what he was talking about. It's not white supremacy, it's inferiority. It's inferiority. Do you understand why? Exactly. The key word. So, you got to go read them. Just research it, man. Yo, when everybody be a sacrificial lamb, he talks about inferiority. You need to pick up some of his books and read them. Get out of your feelings. Get out your feelings and do some research. Question them. See, you'll question me, but you're afraid to question your scholar. You're afraid to question your professor. You're afraid of questioning the police because, ooh, we don't supposed to question them. You're afraid. I'm waiting on the study guide. It's coming, sis. It's just be patient. It's coming, family. Okay? And I'm almost finished because I'm going to go out. So anyway, yes, question everyone. They question me, but y'all don't question them. But I can show you documents on top of documents and facts on top of facts, and people want to argue with you. I can show you facts on top of facts, and people will argue with you. So again, the Atlantic slave trade started with the Portuguese and West Africans. I mean, Portuguese and Spanish. Portuguese and Spanish people. Period. I had newspapers out talking about why are we confused about our.
The Atlantic slave trade also started with Moors. See, they feel that these Moors will fail to tell you that a Moor helped these Europeans kick off the slave trade. True enough, the Europeans saw what the Arabs were already doing, had already been doing for hundreds of years with this slave trade. And they said, I want to get my bid in. So, they come uh, to the west coast of Africa. They start snatching up slaves or snatching up black African people, excuse me, performing raids, slave raiding. Uh, it wasn't as successful as they hoped to be, nowhere near as successful as these Arabs that they see doing it. But on one slave raiding expedition, they happened to grab up a Moor. And this Moor is like, yeah, you know what, man? If y'all let me go, I can give y'all so and so slave number of slaves. We got these black slaves that y'all can have. You gotta let me go though. I'm a noble, but if you let me go, then I can replace what you're losing with me with a certain amount of black African slaves. This is how the slave trade started. You know, it's kind of way dumbed down for time, but you know we'll have to get into that on another day. But yeah, they never seem to they never seem to acknowledge the help of the Moors in their part in the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. But I'm gonna save that for another day. I want to get specifically into that specific topic on another day. So let's keep going. We ain't got number 10 minutes left on this video. Then I'm gonna go back to the website real quick, run through it one more time for those who missed it at the beginning, and we'll be out of here.
About Moore's connection. You got cats that still want to argue with you. When you show them that you went to Portugal, go do your research on this. Do your research. That's in Portugal. Go look up the Moorish Castle. Pick up books like Nature Knows No Color Line. Go look it up. Go look up the variations of the term Moor. I was in Tunis. I was there. Okay? Let's go. Just ask the question, what was we called before the 1500s? Before the 1500s, Ethiopians and Moors. Come on.
Remember, I told you he uses that term Ethiopian. Pay attention to what he's saying. What were we called before the 1500s? Now, we know that we don't come all from one specific group of people, one specific tribe, one specific ethnicity. You know, we are a hodgepodge of different tribes, clans, and ethnic groups, right? Because we know it was a lot of mixing up going on in the transatlantic slave trade. It was a lot of mixing. So for him to say what he just said, let me go back.
Just ask the question, what was we called before the 1500s?
What were we called before the 1500s? To say that we all were one homogenous people before we got here is ridiculous. To say that either tells me one of two things: he's intentionally lying, or he knows absolutely nothing about the transatlantic slave trade and African history and culture. Right? Because why would you say that? If we were all one people before we got here to the Americas, then why would we need to take ancestry tests? What would be the need for DNA tests to see what group of people, what tribe, what clan we come from, what country our ancestors hail from? Why would we need to do that if we all came from one people? So why, if we didn't come from one people, how would we all have taken on one name and one identity. That's how you know the shit that he's talking about, it comes from outsiders. Outsiders. Only outsiders will see a whole group of people, multiple countries, multiple locations and territories, and group them all under one name. Only one people do that, and that's Europeans. Ethiopian, it's a European word. More, it goes back to a European word. We weren't calling ourselves this. We called ourselves Fula. We called ourselves Yoruba. We called ourselves Mende. We called ourselves Akan, Shante, Fante. We called ourselves Balanta, Bamalenke. We didn't call ourselves more. That's a foreign word. We didn't call ourselves Ethiopian. That's a foreign word also. Some of us adopted or adapted this word, but it's not indigenous to us.
Before the 1500 Ethiopians and Moors. Come on. Before the 1500s, ask them what was we called before the 1500s. That's all. Get out your feelings. If you can show me something else that doesn't have it, so let me help you out. Then I rock with you. But you can pick up a lot of books. Okay? You can really research these things. Let me help you out. See, people like to talk, but they ain't showing no proof. I don't care how many videos you do, show some proof in it. Give me 1 second. The dark woolly haired Negroes. Give me 1 second. But even if you show them this, because the fear of the truth, they don't want to hear that. It's one part, and it talks about what they look like, black or more. But even if you show people this, they'll argue with you Moors as a race. The Moors were very black. How did this man do all this with no computer? The Moor for Negro. The black or more. Black is an adjective to describe the Moor. Right? Oh, I got a lot of photos, baby. The Moor, the black or more. So how the hell different terminology on how you spell the word more? So come on, y'all. Come on. This, let me help y'all out before I'm almost finished, y'all. So bear with me. I know our attention spans are short, but I want y'all to research this. Play this video back. Okay? Right? Matter of fact, I'll take pictures of this and I'll put it up here. Give me 1 second. This is hard copies right there. All these books will tell you the history. All of these, and they're in the closet. All of these. And I went to every last one of these places on Portugal, Spain. I went all over here. There's my Portuguese, and I can pull those other ones out too. Just want y'all to see. All of this, right? Even down to this book. This is this. Castile, the territory from the Moors, it was understood, however, that the struggle would continue overseas in Africa and the Atlantic. You can look at this on my Facebook, y'all. I posted this up on Facebook. But I want y'all to see the book where it comes from. Okay? All right. So let me say this real quick, and I'm going to go out. I have no time for people that's in their feelings. If you come on my feeds, I don't have a problem with that, but I would want you to show me your sources. I come from books. I come from the computer and not in Wikipedia. I don't come from Wikipedia. I come from books. I come from encyclopedias online, and I do the research overseas. I done been in Spain many times. I've been in France. I've been in London. I've been in Marseille. I've been in, Morocco, Tunis, Malta. And Tanzania is coming soon too. I'll be going to Tanzania soon. And I'm gonna go live over there. I'll be going to Tanzania soon. Believe me. I'm going to these places. And I appreciate everybody on here and anybody that donated. And if you haven't, I'm going to go, but it's $ Sabir Bey. One more time. $ Sabir Bey, Cash App, and Sabir Bey, Echoes. That's neither here nor there.
Y'all gotta stop paying this brother for misinformation, man. It's ridiculous. He on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, throwing his cash up all around, asking for money. Because that's what he does. He begs, pay me, pay me. And then the same people who's cutting the check, paying this dude, giving him money, he talking down on him. He talks down on the Black Power movement, which I don't get that. I mean, I know that some of us can uh, be misunderstood, and some of us can be on the wrong track, on the wrong path, just because one says they represent Black Power or the Black Power movement or Pan Africanist movement doesn't mean that we all make the best choices and decisions, that we are all saying everything accurate, but there's no reason for you to belittle Black people. Black people are the same ones that's paying you. They're the same one giving you money. Not me personally, because I wouldn't pay for misinformation. But he has a whole set of minions on here that's gonna follow him, that's gonna support him. I ain't mad at nobody supporting another brother. But if you gonna support somebody, make sure you're supporting somebody that's not belittling Black people as a whole. Make sure you're supporting somebody that's giving you thorough information, that's rigorously researching and bringing this information to you. Again, I'm going to plug my channels and the channels of the families: Kofi Pasai TV, Maisi Warrior Clan, Niger Valley Civilization. Anything we put on these channels, any work that we present, Any info that we give out, we're not asking for no money. We don't need you to hit the cash app. We don't need to beg you to help fund our extracurricular activities. The only thing that we ask of you is you support us via views. Come support us by watching the shows. You know what I mean? Learning something, taking something away from the information that we present because it's not easy. It's a lot of work putting these presentations together. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time we take away from our families and our friends and our social life. Our social lives lack, our family lives lack, our friendships lack because we put so much time and effort into bringing y'all information and we don't ask for a dime. Now, we are asking for you to support this book, Spears of the Mozzie, Volume 1. Pre orders are available at KofiPiSideTV.com. All pre orders are 20% off. You know, we ask you to support in that way. We won't never ask you for something for nothing. You know what I mean? Like we will never ask you to give nothing. If you give us something, you're getting something in return. Something tangible in return. You know what I mean? We don't we don't we don't need you to cash up us for these presentations. We just need you to learn something, take something away from it, share it with your family, your friends, or your kids, anybody who is receptive to this information. But we ain't out here begging. I want to show one more quick thing before I go. Before I show the website real quick and then I'll go. Right? This is let me show you the source. I ain't got nothing to hide. Moorings. Portuguese expansion in the writings of Africa. Right? That's the name of the book. That's the name of the source. Josiah Blackmore. All right, so let me go back down to where I was at. Good book. If anybody can have the opportunity to purchase it, get it. Um, we may be possibly giving away some PDFs to some people that pre-order, or maybe doing some type of drawing for those that pre-order our book, and giving away PDFs or physical copies of certain books, just to show love to those that are showing love to us. You know, we don't want something for nothing. Like I said, they figured out. The traditional, even stereotypical figure of the African in medieval and early modern cultures was the Moor, most often an Arabic speaking North African Muslim. Remember, I told you that? Moors are Muslims from Northwest Africa, right? Remember, I told you that? It's just a reiteration. Thus, the Moor, as the emblematic representation of Africa, presides over the arguments in the pages that follow. With the okay, yeah, I'm gonna rewind that. I'm gonna rewind that because I want everybody to get grasp the concept or grasp the idea that I'm getting at. The traditional, even stereotypical figure of the African in medieval and early modern cultures was usually the Moor, most often an Arabic speaking North African Muslim. So those could be those this African that they are referring to. Remember, everybody in Africa is not black. Everybody native to Africa isn't black. Everybody indigenous to Africa isn't black. So these Africans, this African that they're speaking of, could be Berber, could be Arab, could be Negro, could be Turk. I know a lot of us forgetting about the Turks when we speak on Moors. Oh, so this is a general statement, but they get more specific. Most often an Arabic speaking North African Muslim. So it's telling you who the Moors are. It's telling you who Europeans consider the Moors. And when you just broadly label everybody in that same category as Moor or Ethiopian or that general conceptualization, the author refers to that too. And using the term Moor to name the African, I do not mean to repeat the imperialist practice of reducing the demographic diversity of Africa to an undifferentiated mass of otherness with one label. Your reading comprehension got to be at a decent level to catch that. I'm going to go back. And using the term Moor to name the African, I do not mean to repeat the imperialist practice of reducing the demographic diversity of Africa to an undifferentiated mass of otherness with one label. He means, when he says Moor, he does not mean to generalize the whole of Africa into one label or title, because this is what Europeans did. And this is what Sabir does. He generalizes and places diverse people, various groups of people under one label, under one undifferentiated mass of otherness with one label, right? So we got to stop doing that, man. We were not all known by one thing, by one label, by one title. We came from a multitude of different ethnic groups, tribes, clans, populations, etc. We never had one name. Never. So I'm gonna stop there on that. And before I get out of here, I want to one more again show the site for the book. This is our site, KofiPasatV.com. As most of you know, I am a member of Kofi Pasai TV research team. So I'm gonna take you through the site. I did this at the beginning of the video, but I want to thoroughly promote this book. I want to thoroughly promote this website, and I want to thoroughly promote everything that we have going on as a team. So I think this visual is super dope. As you go down, we have feature videos. Let's check that out real quick. And in our feature videos, we will be adding more videos. We are still dealing with the last business moves on the book. So we are focused on that and working on our next project right now. But we will, in the meantime, be dropping new videos on this section. Right now, we have the coronavirus in Africa and its possible effects by Kofi. There's a presentation he did fairly recently, last couple of weeks. Um, we also have the Kofi Pasai TV family and affiliates versus Masi Warrior Clan versus Dagger Squad versus MBK. That was a bill that we had recently a few weeks ago. Too. Also, we have the remaining centered presentation. You know, and as I said, we will be dropping and adding more content to the video section of the site fairly soon. Fairly soon. But this site is very new. It's about a week old, so we haven't had a chance to really get into it and put our own swag on it. This is the last presentation that was done on Kobe Byside TV, the dedication and appreciation for the late great ancestor John and BT. It was dope, super dope. Y'all should go check that out. And this is the articles, the section for articles. We have two so far. Both are by Kofi. We will be adding more. This is Secret Societies and Their Purposes in Africa. And we also have Beautiful African Hair. Please stop saying the other N word. I ain't gonna tell y'all what the other N word is. I mean, if you ponder hard enough, I'm pretty sure you can figure it out. But go check that article out, man. It's super dope. It's super dope, and it's super insightful too. We got the learning market. Got the learning market. That's where we will be having our books, so forth. As you see, Spears of the Mossy. I read the description earlier, so I won't read it again. Y'all can come on the site and read it yourself. But here's where you order. You can add it to your cart. There's the book. Let's see if we can. Yeah, and here we have the texture of knowledge section. This is a section where we will post videos and we will formulate our own quiz. So we make up our own questions about the videos, um, and you will have an opportunity to test what you learned from these specific videos. Um, right now, we have the coming of age by presentation by Brother Sean, and he has his quiz that he formulated himself with his own questions. So y'all can go watch the presentation, which I recommend, and then take the quiz. See how far you get. Test your knowledge, test your African knowledge, and this is still the home page, right? So you scroll all the way down from the home page, and then you see the book, Spears of the Masi, A Historical Survey of the Minds of African Warrior Scholars, Volume 1, by Kofi Pasai TV Research Team. And it is backed and presented by the Masi Warrior Clan. There is the brief description of the book. I read it earlier, so I won't read it right now. And there's a button where you can Hit it and buy it now. It'll take you back to the screen I was previously at, and you can check the book out. And we have a quote by the late great ancestor, Shake to Joke. And yeah, here too. This is, if you need to contact us, you can hit the contact us right here too. But this is how you would contact the team, Kofi Pie Research Team. This is our email, and we all have access to the email. So if you have an issue, a problem, a question, you need to hit us up. You can always email here, or you can go to the contact us section, and you will always be able to contact us no matter what. Also, right next to this is a phone number. You click that, that'll take you directly to Kofi's phone line, right? So if you need to get in contact with Kofi directly, you can hit this. That's the contact. If you need to get in touch with the team as a whole, you can email us at coffeepiesitv.com. Now, we ask that before you decide to buy a book, and all pre-orders of the book is 20% off. Also, the book drops May 25th. If you order the book in advance, you get 20% off. And we're gonna try to figure something out for a lot of the people that pre-order, or we'll be getting something together, some type of incentive for those of us that for those of y'all that support us. But yeah, we would ask that you register here, register your name, your email address, so forth. That way, when you register, it keeps track of your purchases, it keeps track of what you do on the site, and so forth. So you'll always be able to go back to the site and know that, hey, I did this, I bought that, I got this book, I bought that shirt, so on and so forth. Because we will be we will be coming out with more books very, very soon. I'm not going to that's all I'm gonna say about it. But we're not stopping. We're not stopping. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it as far as the site. Check it out. Hopefully you go and support Black authors, man. We put this project together at the drop of a dime. You know what I mean? Like, and we are looking to drop several more projects by the end of the year. Um, we'll see how that goes, but we pushing it, man. We working. So even if hopefully you support, but even if you can't right now, still go to the site, check it out. Take some quizzes, get some reading material. Yeah, we also have a suggested reading section. We will be adding to that too. There's a video there of suggested reading, and we also have a list here of suggested reading that you can get into. You can check out any of these books. We will be adding to it very soon. Just be patient with us. But yeah, man. And we have the proverb, the Malinke proverb: without music, there is no joy. Without joy, there is no music. You understand? So that's what we doing. When you support Kofi Pie TV research team, when you support Niger Valley Civilization, when you support Mossy Warrior Clan, when you support anybody that's affiliated with us, Sexual Mind Meta Nature group. When you support Brother Uncle, when you support Brother Ben, when you support anybody that's connected with us, all we ask of you is that you take something away from the information that we present, because we don't ask for something for nothing. You know what I mean? So let me stop sharing. And I appreciate everybody who kicked it with me tonight, man. Just really shooting the shit. I had that situation go on with brother Sabir. So I said, man, I gotta go live and talk about this. So I appreciate y'all, man, for stopping through. Make sure you go pre-order Spears of the Mozzie Volume 1. If you want the discount, the 20% discount, go ahead and grab your shit, man. We coming uh we coming hard for 2020, man. 2020 is our year. We don't give a damn about no coronavirus. We don't none of that is gonna stop us. None of that is gonna stop us. So peace and love. See y'all next time. Odabo.